probably not going to do a video for this one. This is not going to be a video about
Kraven.
telling you whether or not you should see
Kraven.
Well, it's that time again.
McRib sandwich is back!
And Sony tries one more time to desperately launch a Spider-Man universe without Spider-Man, which is something that nobody wants and is a plan that has resulted in this.
He was in the Amazon with my mom when she was researching spiders right before she died.
Not a great plan.
Their latest attempt to get this disaster of a cinematic universe off the ground is Kraven, a movie about one of Spider-Man's most iconic villains, who is a hunter and gets his thrills from stalking and killing the ultimate prey. So, will Kraven be the big-time hit that Sony has been swinging for, or will it be more like this?
It's Morbin time.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. So sit back, relax, and grab your favorite crossbow, folks, as we take a spoiler-free look at Kraven. And also, if you could please help me get to 1,600 subs by hitting the subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. Anyway, here we go. So, Kraven starts like any great movie, with a prison escape. Why is this happening? Well, you see, this is Sergei Kravinoff, who is also known as the Hunter, a man who hunts down the worst criminals on the planet and kills them in the most violent ways imaginable. So, by now, I'm sure you're thinking, wait a second, is this another one of those villain backstories where they are the hero and not actually a villain? Yes, it is. Why do they keep making this type of movie? Well, I don't know. But what I do know is,
without evil there can be no good, so it must be good to be evil sometime.
anyway, this isn't the actual origin story. In order to see how this all really started, we have to go way, way back to the year 2008. Obama was president, Flo Rida was at the top of the charts, and the collapse in the U.S. housing market resulted in over 2.3 million homes being foreclosed.
Technically, I'm homeless.
And this is where we meet Sergei's father, an international criminal named Nikolai, who is played by the old bloated corpse of Russell Crowe, who tells Sergei and his younger brother Dmitri that their mother is dead. So he decides to help them grieve by taking them to Africa to hunt lions. Sadly, however, this father-son bonding session quickly turns tragic when Sergei is attacked by a lion, which brings him to the brink of death. But luckily, a young girl named Calypso is nearby with a magic potion that gives him incredible powers, like super speed, strength, and the ability to talk to animals. Kind of.
That's dumb.
Essentially, it's a lot like the movie Hot Rod.
Eagle, fox, bottlenose dolphin.
Just not as intentionally funny. Anyway, now infused with the power of lion's blood and nonsense, Sergei leaves his father's criminal empire and starts a new life, hunting down the most evil men in the world. However, one of those men, who seems to be suffering from a terrible skin condition called the Rhino, discovers that Kraven will be coming for him. So he decides to strike first and goes after his father's empire, which puts Dmitri in terrible danger that Kraven must stop by any means necessary. And as the bodies pile up and the violence hits a fever pitch, the movie we end up with is laughably bad, suffering from so many production, script, and editing issues that honestly, I'm surprised they even decided to release this movie. Now, instead of focusing on everything that is wrong with this movie, because that would be a 10-hour video, I am instead focusing on its biggest issues, the first of which is the rampant use of ADR. For those of you who don't know, ADR stands for Additional Dialogue Replacement, where dialogue is re-recorded during the post-production of a movie due to issues that occur when filming takes place. But it can also be used when changes in the script have been made after the principal photography of the film has been shot to fill in gaps in the story. And when it's done well, it's totally seamless. However, when done poorly, it's about as impossible to miss as this. And that is definitely the situation with Kraven. This movie is riddled with terribly synced ADR that is so bad, it's embarrassing to watch. There are times when actors are saying dialogue, but their mouths aren't moving. There are times when actors' mouths are moving, but what you hear is totally different from what's being said. They even use a CGI mouth in this movie instead of going back to reshoot it because that would have been too expensive. I wish I had a clip of it to show you because it's really hard to describe, but it kind of looks like this.
Kraven, watch out.
Of course, this heavy use of ADR was done for a reason, and that reason appears to be that this movie was edited to death in post-production in order to change the story. Change it from what? I don't know. But if you look at the trailer and compare it to what's in the movie, there's a lot of stuff missing. I won't go into it for the sake of spoilers, but if you do see this movie, go back and watch the original trailer after you're done. I think you'll be shocked to see the difference between what was presented versus the final result. Finally, the last thing I want to mention are all the green screen compositing issues that this movie has, and Kraven has some of the worst that I've ever seen in a movie. So bad that you can literally see a line called a halo effect around some of the actors. If you watch older movies, you will see this quite a bit. But this is 2024, and there's just no excuse for a movie that's released by a major studio to have this kind of mistake. With all of that said, is Kraven worse than Madam Web? Well, despite some chatter around the internet saying that it is, it's not. Don't get me wrong, by every conceivable metric, it stinks. But amongst the wreckage that was left on the cutting room floor, one can kind of piece together what could have been at least a decent action movie. I mean, the foot chase through London alone is better than anything that Madam Web had to offer. Well, almost. So, at the end of the day, would I recommend this movie? Well, under certain heavily intoxicated, heavily medicated conditions, this movie might be fun to see with friends. Otherwise, absolutely not. It's a total waste of time, and it's just another dud added to the pile of duds that has been the 2024 box office. Instead, take the money you would use on tickets and just buy more Christmas presents.